So let me give you the backstory on this. I've had the same Toyota for 8 years, and it's been a fantastic car. But my wife is always saying, this car is not, it's a nice car, but I think you need something new. And I keep saying, I just don't want anything new. I saw a car in our neighborhood. I don't know who owns it. And it's made by the Toyota Corporation, and it's a mid to smaller SUV. And I'm not an SUV guy, but it's maraschino cherry red. And there was just something about that car. I would see it. I said, that is a cool car, Mary. That is a cool car. So on a Saturday, I got up late and I got my sweats on. I'm walking over to get coffee. And Mary says, come on outside. And I went, oh, God, I got to listen to her feed these squirrels again, her squirrels out there. And I went out, and in the driveway is that car, maraschino cherry red, with a giant red bow on the top, just like on the TV commercials at Christmas time. You know how you see that?
Oh,
Yeah.
And I went, what is this? And she said, I just bought it for you. I went, you can't do that. She said, I don't want to argue about it. I know you love it. You give to so many people. You take care of so many people. Nobody gives you anything. And I want to be the one that gives you something. And I tell you what, I just about broke down. I couldn't believe it. And so
very cool.
It was
That's
just one of the most
fantastic. Man, it's about
shocking
time
moments.
somebody gave you something wonderful.
I know.
Right?
She went into her 401k and pulled out the dough. So now I've got to get this thing registered at the DMV. And I said, I'm not gonna sweat blood. I'm gonna be prepared. The first thing I need to do is go to the assessor's office, the tax collector's office, and pay the tax on this thing. So I got in my car after we were at work, and I went over to the tax collector's office. And I walked in, and I knew it was going to be crowded, and there was a line about 30 deep. So I looked about where I should go, and I saw, tax collector. And I waited. T14. Oh, they haven't called me yet. 917. Oh, God. I was there for an hour and a half. And I got up. I said, I'd like to pay the tax on this. And I had the documentation. And the woman said, oh, I'm sorry, you're in the wrong line. You need to go over to the assessor first and then come back to us. So I had to get in line again. And that took another, 20 minutes. And then I got the documentation for that. And I went back to the tax collector. Bottom line, I was there for 2.5 hours, but I got it done. And now the next day, I'm going to wrap this up. The next day, I am going to the DMV to get my license plate. And so I go to the DMV, and again, about 30 people in line. And I'm going, just be calm, just be calm. And I finally get up to the lady that tells you where to go. And I said, here's my documentation, insurance, here's the tax bill. She says, looks like you got everything. Go ahead, sit down, and they'll call you. You're going to be K 114. So I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. And I finally get up there. And I said to the lady, I think I have everything here. I'd like to get the license plate. And she goes through it. And the longer she's going through it, the more I'm getting close to sweating blood. And finally, she looks up at me and she says, there's no bill of sale. Mary had to buy the car from a dealer in San Antonio, Texas. And there was a documentation that said this car has been handed over, but there was no actual bill of sale. I was there for 2 hours, and I still didn't get it done. So I've got to go back and, get it done.
Instant access to the podcast, and fun side. Just download the free Bob and Sheri app.
Can you handle some research done on couples and how they can have long-term happy relationships?
Yeah.
Can you take that?
I feel like I should. I feel like I should hear that and take some notes. Yeah, bring it on.
Here it is. The secret is making love 7 times a month, never going to bed angry, and also having the back of your partner, always having each other's backs. Those are the 3 top things. Just below that, admitting you're wrong and having sort of an attitude toward life where you want to have fun. You're an upbeat person. Here's where it gets a little surprising to me. 85% of the couples, I think there were 2,000 people they looked at here. 85% of the couples who had experienced infidelity had managed to work things out, and 38% said the affair actually made their relationship stronger. Those two statistics sound high to me. Do they to you?
They do sound high to me. I don't, but I mean, I can't dispute it just because I don't know anyone personally where infidelity made their relationship stronger. But that's a very small sample size. So, I don't know. Like, wow.
I mean, so, your partner cheated on you and your relationship got better. Are you supposed to send he or she a thank you note because your relationship got better?
No. What you have here is whoever did it realizes that it was a huge mistake. They come back. They absolutely admit all their wrongdoing. They ask for forgiveness. The other person is big enough to forgive that person, and you have to work through it. It probably takes a while, but if you can work through it, people can come out of that and go, you know what? We went through hell in half of Georgia, and our relationship is actually stronger than it was. Boom. That's what they're talking about. I don't know how often it happens, but I know it does happen. I know
38% sounds high. And
do you know?
Sounds like that's a lot.
Do you know anybody personally? Because I mean, I read all these stories too. Do you know?
Yes,
do you happen to know anyone personally? Yeah,
yes.
You do. Okay.
I know a few people. Yeah, I do.
Where it worked that way. All right.
Yeah. But now not without a lot of work. That's a lot of work, and it's got both people have to be committed to make that right. The person that was wronged has to forgive and let it go, and make sure that every time they get pissed off, they don't bring it back up. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's got to be it's a hard road. That's why 38%. 38%. That sounds a little bit high because that takes a lot of work, and you got to have two people that are 100% committed to make that happen. So
the person who's not going to bring it up again has the heavy lift, I think, in that situation. Because you can say, I'm really sorry I was with your cousin. Okay, I'm really, really sorry. Now the other person's got to say, all right, I got to let it go. The 85% really surprised me, where people experience infidelity and they manage to work things out. I mean, you hear about couples going through an infidelity and it's over. It's just done. I'm not saying it always is, but 85% seems high.
It does seem high, but you want to like why you want to believe. You talk about forgiveness, right? And accountability, and if you really believe all that, then maybe you can get to that place. It seems unlikely.
Sincere people, if they are two sincere people that want to make it work, it can happen. But 38% does seem high.
Instant access to the podcast, podcast, fun size, and more with the free Bob and Sheri app.
So if you're just joining us, I was just telling everybody that it was so exciting. My sweet, sweet wife wanted me to have a new car. I've had the same car for 8 years. And she said, I want you to have a new car. I walked out into the driveway, and there was a cherry red small SUV. I'm not going to get into what kind it is, but it's made by the Toyota Corporation. And it was a car that I had admired driving around in my neighborhood. Somebody else had one, and now it was mine. I spent about 5 hours at the tax collector's office and over at the DMV trying to get this thing registered. And again, every time I go to the DMV, I'm always light one paper. And I don't think I'm the only person, because I was talking to other people there. Other people were saying the same thing. I always forget something, or I always don't have something. So I got to get a bill of sale from the dealer she got it from in San Antonio, Texas. So I'm really ticked off. And I know I've got to go back a third time. And I come back to the house, and I'm walking into the house, and I went, if you're just going to be inside this house and you're going to turn on the news or something, you're going to get worse and worse. You have got to go outside. So I said, yeah, that's what I'll do. You know what? I'm gonna get my battery powered leaf blower. I'll go outside and straighten up because leaves are starting to fall. And I go out to my deck and I go to turn on the leaf blower, and there is a 2-foot snake looking at me, and it's moving around. It is moving around. It knows that I'm there. And I don't know. It's not a black snake. I know black snakes are okay. It's got all of these exotic designs on it, kind of dark red with a little bit of yellow. And I looked at it and I thought that could be a poisonous snake. I don't know if it's a rattlesnake, but that could be a poisonous snake. And the only thing that went through my mind is my dog, who I let out on that deck to go every day a couple of times, my dog getting bitten by this snake. I went into my garage and I got my axe.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no, you didn't.
I got my axe. And I know there are people listening right now going, Bob has an axe? Why would Bob have an axe?
No, Bob always has an axe to grind. We just didn't know you had one to swing.
Yeah.
That you could
exactly.
use. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Solid.
But I have an actual axe. I keep it right next to my LL Bean buffalo plaid shirt. Anyway, I get the axe and I go to the deck. And this is the same deck that we just had built last year. It's a brand new deck. And I'm looking at that snake and I'm going, you're going to die. And I hit the snake with the axe and it just ticked the snake off. It pissed him off. And now he's moving around more. And I hit him again. And sometimes I'm missing him. And I hit him again. And I hit him again. And finally, I got him separated. And he still keeps moving. He's in 2 pieces. And both pieces continue to move. So I say to myself, you got to take that snake's head off. And so now I'm pounding again and I'm missing. I'm pounding. And finally, I get the damn thing's head off. And its head keeps moving.
Oh.
And there's snake blood.
Ew.
And I now have to just wait for this thing to die. It does. And I get a broom and I push it into a little container and I throw it in the woods.
What kind of shape's your deck in after you've hacked it with this axe for 15
It's
minutes?
it's not good. I haven't counted, but there are probably 10 or 12 indentations in my brand new deck for my axe. And so this is one of the most awful days that I've had between the DMV, between going to the tax collector and then confronting a snake.
Well, honestly,
my wife,
this was a pretty crappy day for the snake, too.
Well, that too. Yeah.
It's the stuff we wouldn't, couldn't, shouldn't do on the regular show. The Oddcast on the free Bob and Sheri app.
So when we travel, Sheri very often is the person, because she does so much, who sets up a VRBO. And she does great with the VRBOs. We've had a VRBO in New York City in Hell's Kitchen, which was a great location right near the subway. We were all together. I think Mary was with us, wasn't she? And one of Mary's friends.
And one of Mary's friends, yeah.
Yeah, we had 3 or 4 bedrooms, and that was great. And our last trip up north in the Northeast toward Maine, we had to stay because of the storm Debbie. We had to stay overnight in the Boston area and Chelsea. And we had nothing booked. Sheri gets on, Lamar's driving, Sheri gets on her phone and finds a place for all of us to stay. This is the last minute. I mean, it's like 11 o'clock at night and she found a place. And so over there we go, and everybody had their own bedroom. Heather did, and Lamar did, I did, and Sheri did, and all. And there was
Heather and I shared a bed, not just a room, but we shared a
that's
bed.
right.
We had a little sleepover party. Yep.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. You
It
know, I
was
love
fun.
you, Lamar, but I
I thought we was going to get the hell up there, Bob. I
no,
had my,
no.
I had my, I had my,
Nope,
my
nope.
pajama pants, so it wouldn't be creepy. I
Yeah.
thought it'd work out all right.
Yeah, no, that's not going to work out for us. But the problem with that one, and it was not because Sheri picked the wrong place. It was just 11 o'clock at night, and she found somewhere. There was one
Great place,
bathroom.
but yeah.
There was one
Yeah.
bathroom, and so there was a lot of hustling the next morning to drive to Bangor. And speaking of Bangor, I just got an email from a friend of mine. I've known Peter Neary, and I refer to him frequently since we were in elementary school. And he was the guitar player, and he is a great guitar player in my garage band when I was a teenager. And we've kept up with each other over the years. So listen to this. Hi, Bob. Jean and I, that's his girlfriend, are in Maine at her mom's house in Penobscot that Jean and her brothers now own. Anyway, they rent their house out, and I mentioned to one of her brothers, Chuck, that's the brother of his girlfriend, that my old bandmates might like gathering here someday. And then I mentioned that one of my buddies, Bob, comes to Maine a lot because of his radio show, Bob and Sheri. Chuck's jaw dropped. No way! Everybody loves them up here! Chuck spent years in the Bangor area as the chief of operations for the ambulance service. I don't know if you and Sheri come with or without spouses, but when you come to Maine, this property might be right for your show. And if not, maybe we can get together with some of our old friends before we're too old to move around. Peter, I just love that this guy was so excited to see one of my old friends. That it's amazing how there are connections through a radio show like this. I never would have suspected that. And he had been listening for years and years, and he was in the ambulance service in that part of Bangor.
I love it. And you know what? When we go back to Maine, if that house is available, we'll try to stay there. How's that?
I think we should.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
He sent me a picture. I haven't seen it yet, but he sent me a picture. I'll look at it a little bit later on. I'm sure it's great. He was the guy. I was alone after a divorce, and I was walking through Northwest Harbor all by myself on vacation. I just wanted to go someplace that I loved, and I was kind of bummed out. And my cell phone rang, and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm in Maine." He said, "So am I. I'm with my mom and dad and my brothers and my sister." And he was about 20 miles in Winter Harbor. And he said, "I want you to come over and have lobster dinner with us." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yep." And I went over and sat down and had a lobster dinner with a childhood friend and his parents, who we
Oh, that's
lived
so
next door
cool.
to. And, it just, anybody that's been through a breakup knows that, you really can become bummed out. And something like that just turns you around
Yeah.
completely.